Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. It's Niall, and I'm absolutely delighted as always to be joined by Owen and Thomas. And we're here for a big fight breakdown, and this is one I can't wait for. It's a mega fight between Jesse Bam Rodriguez and Juan Francisco Estrada, June 29th at the Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona. WBC World Super Flyweight title on the line. And yeah, gents, this is one I'm really excited for. Don't know about yourselves, fight of the year contender to me, in my opinion. Both multi-weight world champions, of course. Jesse Rodriguez back up now at 115, looking to regain the WBC super flyweight title that he once held before he moved back down. And he's up against a legend of the game, Juan Francisco Estrada, who is fighting for the first time since 2022, when he beat Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez in an absolute war. So, yeah, this is a fascinating matchup for me. So let's jump into it. Um, Firstly, before we kind of get into the fight itself and break it down, I just want to talk a bit about the pound for pound standings at the minute. It's very topical. Obviously, you've got Canelo who's just fought, Usyk who's just beaten Tyson Fury, Inouye's just fought, and Crawford coming up. So I just wanted to get where you kind of gauge Jesse Rodriguez on your pound for pound rankings. He has the wins over Rung Visai, Sonny Edwards, two-weight world champion. Does he make your kind of top 10 or even maybe top five? And I suppose tying into that question is if he wins this fight against Estrada and if he wins convincingly, does it kind of move him up your pound for pound rankings? I'll start with Thomas on this. What do you think? Where do you have Jesse Rodriguez currently in your pound for pound list? And as I say, if he wins, does he move up that ladder?
Well, I would say he's definitely somewhere in the top 10, somewhere between 5 and 10. And quite simply, if he gets the job done against Estrada, that should definitely give him a good case to be pushed towards, at least number 5 or number 4. We talk about the big three right now, Canelo, or I'm sorry, well, yeah, Canelo, but mostly before Usyk and then Crawford. Um, Perhaps uh, with the depending on how good Rodriguez looks, he can take that number 4 or number 5 spot. So yeah, it's a big fight for him, and uh, it's within his best interest, of course, to look as good as possible.
Yeah, so I'd have to agree. Owen, I'll throw it over to you. Where's Jesse Rodriguez come in your pound for pound list?
It's definitely in there, but I'm disagreeing with Thomas. I think for me, the top six, a million miles away. For me at the moment, when you look through Inoue, Canelo, Usyk, Beterbiev, Bivol, Crawford. You look at them, he's got a lot to do. But like you say, the Rung Visai, Sonny Edwards, Estrada would be sort of a big sort of three fight spell, where it would put him. I'd probably have him at about 10th. Let's say two-weight world champion, two big victories in his last two fights, sort of thing. And now if you can add Estrada, it's a big name in the lower divisions to add. And I think a win like this, we're only going to see Bam Rodriguez in those big name fights. So you know what bouts are like as he collects more bouts. It's probably a case of mandatories. We'll stop constant super fights. But yeah, I think like you say, an absolute war. Last time out sort of thing for Estrada. Um, if if Bam can beat him convincingly, then I think that the question raises of where he goes in the pound for pound list in sort of your seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, definitely. But I think he's a couple away from your sort of top five questions for me.
Yeah, interesting comments from both. I think I have to agree with you both in ways. I think you have to put him top 10 for winning the world titles in two divisions and top quality wins like Rung Visai and Sonny Edwards. Owen, as you said yourself, though, maybe he needs a bit more work to do before he cracks that top five. I do kind of
I
agree
would
with
like to
that.
mention, sorry to interrupt.
No,
I'm
go ahead.
ashamed that I completely forgot about Inouye and Beterbiev and Bivol.
Mm.
So yeah, Owen makes a good point. You definitely have a lot of work to do to catch up to those guys, but I still think he looks good against Estrada. Maybe number 5, number 6.
Yeah, no, it's the thing is he might have a lot of work to do, but I think he's more than capable of doing it. I think this might be a bold statement, but I think Jesse Rodriguez has pound for pound number one, pound for pound top three, or even number one potential. He's one of my favorite fighters in the world to watch at the minute. Just he's the perfect blend of everything: boxing, skill, speed, power, footwork, balance. He can just do it all, and I think he's chasing these legacy defining fights against the likes of Sonny Edwards or Estrada or Rungvisai, which is great to see. And I think he has the talent to kind of produce the goods. And also, there is those names around his weight class that would get him that pound for pound top five, top three. Number one, there's Kasai Tanaka, Kazuta Ioka, maybe a fight with Chocolatito Gonzalez. And then, of course, I think he's well able to kind of move up the weights and do the business there. So I think it'll be a big statement if he was to decisively kind of get rid of Estrada or he beat Estrada, and then he'll be more than happy to jump into more legacy defining fights that I'd favour him in to win. To be honest with you, I really would. Around 115, 118, maybe even 122, who knows? So yeah, it's definitely one to kind of contemplate for Bam Rodriguez, but a hell of a talent. He really is a hell of a talent. So let's get into the fight itself now. Juan Francisco Estrada, absolute legend of the lower weight classes. You know, I think what's he over 50 fights now. You know, a lot of wars, a lot of big names on the record. Of course, beat Chocolatito last time out in the trilogy. Although a lot of people thought maybe Chocolatito deserved the nod there in that one, but he got the win. So yeah, still doing it, and this will be an extraordinary win for the old warhorse Estrada if he was to pull this off. I'm gonna go to Owen here to just kind of jump into it and break down how you think this fight goes. What are the kind of keys to victory, or how do you see it playing out? And who wins ultimately? Who kind of takes it home on June 29th in Phoenix?
It's a tough one because I think Estrada's never been stopped. You know, I think it's 3 losses. And he hasn't looked close to being stopped. We've seen him have that, like you say, absolute war with Chocolatito, who's a pound for pound legend. And he never looked, I wouldn't necessarily say close to being stopped. There was obviously points where he looked in trouble. But well, I don't think he's ever looked too close to being stopped in his career. I think for Jesse Rodriguez, I think youth on his side will play a huge part. You know, what's Bam Rodriguez, 23, 24? I think sort of around, you know, flyweight, super flyweight, those divisions, I think Rodriguez is so powerful and he's so spiteful. So he reminds me of, in a sense of, it's probably the most random comparison for for pound potential fighter, but in the aspect of he doesn't always stop people with his punches. But remember when Chris Eubank in his sort of prime, we'll say junior, uppercuts, especially like the Nick Blackwell fight where he just throw them, not worried about what's coming back. And they were so spiteful and hurtful over a period. And that's what I see from Rodriguez. He breaks you down. You know, Sonny Edwards, no one's really landed a glove on him. And he absolutely battered him to the point of obviously Edwards having to retire. So I think for Rodriguez, the key is walk Estrada down, use your youthful energy, try and break him down over a period. A lot of body shots to stop Estrada coming forward as well. And then for Estrada, I think if he doesn't knock him out, he can't beat him. I think obviously he's a brilliant boxer. Estrada as well has got a decent knockout percentage, but I think he's not going to be able to land the punches frequently enough and accurately enough to get to Jesse Rodriguez over a potential points decision. So I think Estrada needs to try and find that big knockout. And I think Bam Rodriguez just needs to get on the gas early, get on the front foot, almost exactly like he did against Sonny Edwards, get into his face, break him down, a lot of body shots, and work his way into what I think will be a late stoppage and the first stoppage defeat of Estrada's career, sort of rounds 10, rounds 11.
Very interesting, very interesting. I didn't know whether you were going to go with the stoppage there, so it's the big show, but I like it. Yeah, it's a great point. The Sonny Edwards win. I just watched kind of the highlights of it there earlier today. Knowing we were recording this video, and the educated pressure to break
Mhm.
Sonny Edwards down was absolutely beautiful to watch. It really was beautiful. And it's not like he's not doing this against a nobody, Sonny Edwards, say what you want about him, quality fighter, as you mentioned, nobody really laid a glove on him. 44-pound Rodriguez. So yeah, outstanding win. Thomas, I'll throw it over to you. Are you gonna go for a Bam Rodriguez win, or kind of Strada do it? Let us know how you think it plays out.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I we just can't ignore the age difference between the two. And and otherwise I think in terms of skill, like a pretty even matchup. Like I think it's a great matchup, but I just think that age advantage for Estrada is going to be key. And he's going to need to make Estrada feel that age difference. You know, put him on the back foot, fight. Um, really aggressive fight, throw a lot of punches, of course, and try to wear him out. But I think that's going to be tough. I don't really see, my opinion. I think Estrada hangs in, goes the distance, and I think Rodriguez wins clear. But I think there's at least moments of competitiveness in the fight. Um, I think Estrada's going to have his moments, but I think the key difference will be the the youth and just the special talent of Bam Rodriguez. So I'm picking Bam to win via decision, via unanimous decision, comfortable decision. But it should be a great fight.
Interesting, interesting again. It's hard to disagree with yourself. I think it should be a great fight. It really will, and I do think Estrada will has the potential, the quality, the experience to cause him problems, particularly early. So I do think, yeah, this one catches fire. It's fight of the year potential, but I think, well, firstly, the point that you both brought up, I think age is going to be key here. The youth of Rodriguez, first of all, is going to be really kind of key. On, as you mentioned, 23, 24, which is frightening, the ceiling that this kid has. He's still so young. So I think that'll be key. I also just think, if we break this fight down, I'm not sure. Now, I could be wrong here. I'm not sure Juan Francisco Estrada does anything really better than Jesse Rodriguez does. That's what I think it comes down to. You mentioned it is quite evenly matched, but I think in every category, Jesse Rodriguez has the better of him. I really do. So, as I mentioned earlier, so well balanced, beautiful boxer, quick, powerful. The educated pressure is amazing. So, I do think he's going to get it done here. We're going for a Jesse Rodriguez, Bam Rodriguez clean sweep. And I was kind of to and fro. I don't know if he can get the stoppage here, or will it be on points. But I think I'm going to go for a late stoppage with Owen. I think it's going to be another star-making performance from Jesse Rodriguez for a late stoppage. You know, Estrada, tough as they come. As it's been mentioned on the call, he hasn't been stopped yet, hasn't really looked like being stopped against some big punchers. So he is tough, but I think youth and skill set is going to win out here for a Jesse Rodriguez clean sweep at ESBR boxing. But I can't wait for it. It's going to be an amazing fight. So that's our breakdown and predictions. Just before we go, I have to ask you, we're going to look into the future, considering we're all going for Bam Rodriguez. Let's say he wins this, he moves up, he moves up for the super fight that's been talked about with Nia anyway, the undisputed super bantamweight champion. I know it's a big leap, but it's been talked about by Bam and it's been talked about by Eddie Hearn. So if he wins on June 29th and we get the mega fight, how does it go down? Thomas, I'll go to you first for this one.
Oh boy. Yeah, to be honest, as much as I really like Bam, I just don't like that matchup for him. No, I think maybe early on, the early rounds, and it could be a fun matchup. Both guys are so quick, but man, that power anyway, and just the fact that he's so much bigger. I mean, like you said, Niall, Bam would really be making a leap to make that fight happen. So yeah, that would be a really tall order for him to get that done. Great. I mean, on paper, great fight, and it would be a great event. But yeah, not a very favorable matchup for Bam Rodriguez, in my opinion.
I'd have to agree. But on, let's hear it. What do you think? Bam versus Inoue.
I think Bam's a special talent, but Inoue's a freak. And that's the difference of your world class, your elite, and then the top of the elite. And Naira Inoue is very much sat at the head of the table, at the top table with the elite. For Inoue, for me, he's just a freak of a case of you look at what he's done. Benito Donaire troubled him, which he probably needed in his career at the start. Obviously, that stage of his career, sorry, rematch, knockout in 2 rounds. He found a way. He's stepped up since. When you look at his record and who he's fought, Stephen Fulton was meant to be the problem. Almost took him out when he felt like it. Marlon Tapales gave him a few issues during that fight, knocked him out. The next one, Louis Neary, meant to be the problem. Easy. Got dropped early. And then after that, my God, what a monster. What a performance. So I just think sometimes even the elite come up against someone that's just that slight step ahead. And Inoue he's almost like the 108 to 122 pound boogeyman. He's just got the answer for everything. We've seen Donaire take rounds off him. We've seen him get dropped and look at the results. So I just think too big, too strong. And we've seen Inoue go through 4 different weight classes, and the power, it hasn't even looked like changing in any of them. It's just almost been the same no matter what weight he is. So yeah, bit of a freak, and I know that's one for Bam. For if he wins that, he goes down in folklore. And for Eddie Hearn, it's a monster fight. It's a monster payday, but I think Inoue too big, too strong.
Yeah, to put it simply, I have to agree with you both. It's just too much of a leap for Rodriguez, and there's no shame in it. There's really not. As you mentioned, Rodriguez is a world class elite, but anyway, it's the same, and he's too big. I don't, not to put a dampener on it, but I don't really like the talk of this fight. It doesn't interest me. I don't think, in my opinion, either of them need to take that fight. It doesn't really make sense. I'd rather see Inoue. There's legacy fights from at 126, 122 and beyond. And same with Bam, at 115, there's, like I mentioned earlier, Tanaka, Ioka, all Chocolatito, all huge legacy defining fights. And he's so young. So, yeah, I've no interest in seeing him fight Nia anyway. I really don't. I don't think it does anything for Inoue, and Bam doesn't need to take it. If he was to fight Inoue, I'd like to see him get acclimatized first to the weights 118 and 122, fight a puncher at 118, fight a puncher at 122 before you fight Nye anyway. But no, not for me, too big of a jump. So yeah, that's all we have time for on this one for a big fight breakdown for the huge WBC World Super Flyweight title fight between Juan Francisco Estrada and Jesse Bam Rodriguez, June 29th at the Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona. And this is, as we mentioned earlier, has fight of the year potential. It really does. The up and coming superstar Bam Rodriguez against the old veteran, the legend, Juan Francisco Estrada. So we're going for a Jesse Rodriguez clean sweep here. Let us know what you think in the comments. Is it another star-making win for Rodriguez, or can Estrada roll back the years and produce what would be arguably the biggest win of his career at this stage of his career and bam. So yeah, let us know what you think, and as always, drop us a like on the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and yeah, follow us on all social media. There's always great content coming up regularly. So yeah, Thomas and Owen, it's been a pleasure, and take care.